Good morning. It is Thursday. My brain actually works today. Thursday, maybe it works. January 28th, 10 a.m. and raining in Seattle, about 40 degrees. Not super exciting to be outside, but I'm not. So I guess that's less relevant other than part of me really had planned on going to do laundry, and that requires walking out the door and around the building. And so I'm less excited about walking outside in the rain to do laundry, even though it needs to be done. We'll see about that. That doesn't have to be decided right now. Yeah, I just hope you guys are having a lovely day, week, wherever you are. This is, as so often goes, it's hard to believe it's Thursday, and it's, one of those where the week hasn't been bad, but it certainly hasn't been the week that I planned. And all of that just makes for things to be a little bit interesting. Always interesting, I guess. But it seems like there's a lot to be said for being flexible, being adaptable, and yeah, just the biggest change is, where I thought I was going to be focusing my time and priority over the next couple weeks changed once I had the opportunity to go ahead and sign up for a couple of other classes. I love it when 2 or 3 different projects sort of dovetail together. So I ended up coming across another one with Alan Brand with ADD Crusher, who I followed his work for years. He was an advertising exec and then realized he's got ADD. So now he does a bunch of coaching and some other odds and ends, but he's doing some work on social media, and my social media is there. It's okay. It's not stunning, but seeing how I'm going to be working with Tiny Habits and some other cool things, it's nice to have sort of a formal framework for moving forward with getting more things out there. And being I'm not terribly good at sharing what I'm doing, that's, another formal place to work with that seems like just kind of like the next baby step to take. And on that note, let's go ahead and start the first sprint. For the next 25 minutes, my goal is actually investigating kind of what's on YouTube around Pomodoro sprints. And I'm thinking I might actually do a video about not just how to Pomodoro sprint, but, well, I guess how to Pomodoro sprint. And just some of the things that people might want to think about in addition to, well, you're working for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. But have you actually turned off all your distractions? The intent is obviously to be working on one thing without distraction for 25 minutes, doing a couple series of them, and then taking a longer break. And, these are things that I know, but if somebody's new to this, they might not have ever encountered that. Anyway, that being said, I'll see you guys on the other side. Just past 5 minutes left. All right, that was 25 minutes. And hey, I can even move the window and get it so I'm not staring sideways at my second monitor. Yeah, how did that go for folks? Hopefully that was good for me. I actually, today when I've slept, it's amazing. I can actually focus on what I intend to do. Part of the reason I really like doing these is, you know, if I set an intention with the time frame, I often will actually get done what I intend to get done. And that's better, it seems like, than when I'm like, I will sit down and let time entropy take over, where things will just expand. And suddenly 3 hours later, I sort of finished the email that should have taken me 20 seconds to write. And it's like, oh, what have I done with last huge amount of my time? So especially around tasks that I'm not real excited about or don't have any immediate reward, even if I know they're important to do. So yeah, that's why I keep doing these. Again, as always, thank you folks for being here. Beth, welcome. Glad to see you're back. Glad you got some traction on your writing and all of that. I had a thought. Thought is gone. Anyway, you know, it's just nice to be rested this morning. Hopefully everybody else got a chance to feel well rested or has taken a break during their day. We are going to actually try and stick to the 5-minute break today, as in I will actually let the full timer run, because sometimes I remember to do that. But yeah, this would be a great time to get up and take a break, stretch, think about what you did get done. If you didn't get done what you intended, what got in your way? What can you shift? What can you do differently for the next round or in the future? Sometimes it's a simple one-time action of, oh yeah, if I mute the computer, then I don't get distracted when Amy gives us a 5-minute break. Sometimes all it takes is, you know, tiny tweaks to make a massive difference. And that's one of those things I'm revisiting in a lot of places, is what one-time actions can I do right now that actually are going to have an ongoing impact? And really, a lot of them are often really small. Like, oh, okay, I guess I've reinvested in more daylight light bulbs that are on automatic timers. And it's like, oh yeah, it really ends up cueing me to not have to think about, should I be going to bed, you know, because I'm getting external signals. So for me, a lot of self-management is really environmental hacking. Yeah, but one-time actions, although sometimes you have to plan for the one-time actions, but other times it's just like, you know, what can I do that's going to actually make this whole process easier over time? And it's always a really interesting place to do. I'm wondering if there are any things that you guys have done that, you know, a one-time action that really ended up making a big difference in some process or something, because it's always interesting to see what else other people do and what ideas that gives me, and then what else, you know, I can share or bring up in conversation. Again, I am a fan of, you know, things sort of dovetailing together from lots of different dimensions of my life. So in some ways, the more information I take in, the better I am, until I get overwhelmed, and then it's all, you know, everything's off the table. But in the meantime, I am an information consumer. I like input. Of course, this is, yeah, not working very well. Reflection, too much reflection. I'm also a big fan of the Strengths Finder, Gallup Strengths Finder. My top 5 strengths are actually strategic. So I like, well, strategic thinking. I learn, so again, more information, it makes me happy. I like thinking about ideas. Ideation is my 3rd. Intellection. I just like the process of thinking. And then input. So again, more information makes me happy. And then I'm looking for themes and whatnot between different places. So it's kind of fun to, again, take information that other people have found useful and look at how I might find it to be applied. Anyway, but yeah, so that's, you know, and also these sprints, has been a excuse, and I use excuse very loosely, but a reason for me to sit down and have some focused time off and to consume information. That within a sprint, I'm not going to get sucked down the rabbit hole for 4 or 5 hours, which is very, very likely to do. And Beth, that's interesting to see that you're enjoying talking to yourself in the third person. And that's cool that it's actually worked for you being kind to yourself and your daughter. That's, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see the impact that, again, some of those shifts can make. And I'm still working on trying to be kinder to myself. It's actually getting easier, but I'm not entirely there 100%. I guess 40 plus years of habits are not likely to change overnight, even if I think they should. But yeah, it's been just really kind of an interesting process to talk through things. I also am a verbal processor, so it's kind of, while I feel a little bit like I'm sitting here talking to myself, sometimes it is kind of, a good way for me to think through and sort of understand my own thoughts. And I enjoy sort of the slow dialogue that happens in the course of these. Occasionally people are willing to engage with me, and that's kind of fun. So, but yeah, it's good. I guess we're right at the end of a 5-minute break. So if you haven't gotten up, it would be a good time to, do that real quick stretch, get some water, and give some thought to what you're doing in the next 25 minutes. My intention for the next 25 minutes is to, get up and stretch after I put on the timer. And then I'm continuing to poke around and start thinking about kind of what I want to share about Pomodoros and why I like them. And if there's anything you guys would like to see pop up in a video, I will do my best to incorporate it. And I'd love to see too what people are thinking about for the next 25 minutes if you want the external accountability. Elizabeth sounds great with the writing and housework. And then I can't multitask and reset things, but pause. All right, I'm almost ready. That being said, why are you not expanding the way I want you to? There you are. Okay, I will start the timer and then expand it. I will talk to you guys. I'll do another 5-minute call out. If that's distracting, mute yourself. The visual timer will stay up there. And that being said, I'm going to go stretch and get myself some water. just over 5 minutes till the end of the sprint. All right, that was 25 minutes. How did that go for people? For me, I actually have been getting through a bunch of my email that I need to, reply to, and things that are just sort of nitpicky on my list, and so that's nice. Yeah, that was definitely successful. I'd love to know if you want to share what was successful or not for you. In the last 25 minutes, what I realized after talking about one-time actions is I really need to figure out how to turn off my, I don't mind the visual icon when I get emails, but the dinging is super distracting, and that's, yeah, I know there's a way to turn it off. I know it's not hard. But yeah, apparently that's going to be my next one-time action for the first start of the next sprint is like, how do I turn off the email dinging? Because that immediately pulls me out of whatever. For some reason, the visual isn't nearly as distracting for me. Elizabeth, glad that you're able to get through a bunch of your stuff. That just reminds me I need to actually go ahead and start a 5-minute break timer. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent in my precision with these. Not that that's like 100%, but I know that there's a lot to be said for the time on and then followed by an actual break instead of me just like going, oh, yeah, talk, do stuff for a couple minutes, and then, starting before people have actually had a time to sort of let reset brains, come back and process what's going on. But yeah, sometimes the focused work and then followed by the break and the intentional shift, especially knowing others are around and online, can actually be a big difference. I know for me, I don't miss working in coffee shops. I miss the concept of working in coffee shops, but I was always super distracted. But I do like the online co-working stuff, because then it's like, I know there are other people. I can sort of benefit from the energy and the focus of others, and it helps me, again, sort of keep with where I'm going. And, as we are sitting here for the next couple of minutes, I will go ahead, and obviously I'm going to go ahead and run at least one more, if not two more sprints today, just because I've got the time. And I'm actually focused and don't have to be somewhere else at the moment. So I will, like I said, at least one more, maybe two. We'll see how I'm feeling. But again, you've got a couple minutes, get up, stretch, move your legs. Even just the, 10 jumping jacks or, marching in place for 30 seconds really actually changes the hormones in your body and helps keep your brain up there and focused. Of course, I know some people actually, it's like popping in and out of these Pomodoros can actually almost be harder than like continuing to work when you're in flow. And so a lot of it's kind of, what works for you. And again, there are lots of different people running lots of different styles of these things out there. This is a style that works for me. So if you're here, it probably works on some level for you as well. But again, experimenting with, the times or the volume or the, do you need other music on in the background? Those are all little tweaks that might make a really big difference, and maybe not. But that being said, I would, ask that you take a second and consider, what do you want out of the next sprint? What does success look like? And for me, that's, starting to go through the material for 2 separate classes that I'm starting next week, and at least figuring out, A, do I have the calendars and the links for the online meetings on my calendar? B, what do I need to review or at least skim over? And maybe that's nothing, but really until I know that, it can feel kind of overwhelming. And so for me, giving myself, again, some focus time to sit down and go through, oh yeah, and figure out what I actually have on my plate is probably more beneficial than avoiding it and wondering what I really should be doing. So yeah, by sitting down and figuring out what I actually have on my plate, makes it much more manageable. But yeah, that being said, yeah, first priority, and again, I'll leave the timer up when I get up, but stretch, get some water, and then come back and work on my own, what was I just saying, class preparation. And so, two, I've often, had to remind people that you don't want to do these for like hours on end, although I know some people do, but really making sure after, 3 or 4, you're getting up and giving yourself a longer break, especially if you are being really effective and really focused. And that's just going to let you keep on doing focused stuff for longer. That being said, we've got about 30 seconds left, so you might think about formalizing now what you're intending to do over the next 25 minutes and getting ready to sort of switch gears. And that being said, if you're inclined to share what you want to focus on, go ahead and do so in the comments. And other than that, that was a 5-minute break, and I will do a call out again at 5 minutes before the end. Other than that, I'll be on mute and talking quietly to my computer because it's often irritating me, but that's just the way I roll. So I'll talk to you guys on the other side. 5 minutes till the end of the sprint. And that was 25 minutes. How did that go for people? I can tell that I am getting to the point where I'm going to have to go get another cup of coffee. My focus is decreasing, which, you know, always happens when I'm doing detail work like calendar updates, which is important, but really draining. Not my favorite thing, but also makes my life run a bunch better. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and run one more so I can get through the end of my calendar updates for the near future and be done with it. Because when I'm done with it, I'll be done with it. Anyway, yeah, obviously not more draining than I'd like to admit it is, but you know, once it's up and running, I can get that out of my head. So I am making progress, which is good. But yeah, how did that last 25 minutes go for you guys? Any breakthroughs, anything exciting, anything major in your way? I also did figure out how to get my email notifications to stop dinging at me, which is kind of a relief. So yeah, I have solved some problems, but you know, it's funny when you get tired, it's like the volume of what you get through, you don't feel nearly as excited about because you're tired. So anyway, that's one of those insights. I often forget that, you know, I'll work really hard and I'll feel like I've done nothing. But when I stop and sit down and look at it, it's like, oh no, I've actually done a lot. I just don't feel like I have because I'm really fatigued. Always good to see people making progress. Thanks for sharing, Elizabeth. I know the Beth was working on a bunch of writing, and last I saw, Shadow's Lair was doing Chinese lessons. I don't know if you guys have moved on from those projects or not. But yeah, it's really fascinating to me, all of the variety of things that people end up getting done. Glad to see that your research went well, Beth. We will get you guys, see you next time. And again, Tuesday, I'm flipping to a different time, 2:30 Pacific for a while, a conflict with a class, and B, just see what happens when it gets shifted to another time. I'm not 100% sure if where I'll end up falling out after this next, you know, class or whatnot. But yeah, sometimes it's good to shift things up, and you know, just because I've changed the time, I was arguing with myself, well, is that still staying consistent? It's like, no, it is staying consistent. I've just, you know, been able to reshift it to accommodate some other things, and because I appreciate and need the work blocks, shifting the time makes sense. And no, it is being consistent. It's just sometimes those consistent things also need adjustment, and that's all right. Glad that you got through some of your lessons, Shadow's Lair, and yeah, things are progressing. Like I said, for me, one more round of calendar updates, website link checking, saving, etc. for classes, and then I think I'm shot. But that's fine. That's the whole point of this, is for me at least to get through some of my stuff. And again, glad to see other people around. But get up, take a break for, you know, the last minute and a half, do something vaguely physical. Once I flip, I would go ahead and do that myself, go get some coffee and come back and spend one more cycle, and then I kind of hit my max. So when I was poking around, I was just stunned that some people can do 12 hours of these. I'm like, nope, not me. So a couple hours, I'd rather get a lot done and just admit that, you know, the short sprints, the short bursts are really my thing. And if somebody wants to do it for 12 hours, I'm glad it works for them. That's, not me. Anyway, that's okay. That's why there's lots of different ways we can do this, and I'm glad that it works for other people and that there are other ways to do it and not just my way, because it'd be really boring if it were just my way. That being said, what are people's plans for the next 25 minutes? Like I said, mine is going to be coffee, a little bit of stretching, and then coming back and finishing calendar updates. And I know we had a few people jump off, which is, to be totally expected. And that being said, I guess I should reset the timer. I will do another call out. That was the official end of the 5-minute break. Do a call out 5 minutes before the end. If you don't want to hear it, mute yourself and you'll see the timer anyway. And I'll talk to you guys in 20 minutes. Not pause. Just under 5 minutes. All right, and that was, 25 minutes. Sorry, I'm reading course content for next week, and apparently my brain is having a hard time switching gears. But thanks for being here. Hopefully you guys got stuff done. I have definitely had to admit that I've reached my limit. And that's fine. A lot of that's the awareness of knowing, nothing else is going to get done very effectively right now. It's way more effective for me to go have lunch and then do a couple meetings and then come back and do some more. And yeah, so much of it, I think, is learning and really being okay with kind of working with where your energy is, because sometimes what you think you should do and where the energy really is not always the same, and there's only so much you can do to sort of upregulate your body and energy, and it does come in at an expense, and so sometimes it's really adjusting expectations on my part, and I think we all face this in various scenarios from time to time. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, Elizabeth. I don't think I've seen you on here before. Hopefully I will see you back here. I know that I start, seeing names, and it was kind of fun to see that people are coming back. Shadows Lair, I know I've seen you around here for a while, and taking a break is a good thing. It's actually, I've said for years, and sometimes it's easier to believe than others, is slow down to speed up. And it's kind of counterintuitive, except that, it's like exercise. You need a break. Your muscles and brain need time to recover. So that being said, I'm going to go do that and wish you guys a best of, rest of your day, best weekend, and hopefully we'll see some of you folks next week. Or whenever you're watching this, if it happens to be a replay. Occasionally I do realize that people are watching these after the fact, and that's cool. And that being said, I will catch you guys next time.